Dude, did you buy these tickets to Spain yet, or what, man?
I was going to do that after we were done here.
Priorities, I suppose,
Yeah,
because
that was a reward.
not much is more important to us than this podcast, except for maybe a little running of the bulls
Running
action.
The Bulls, yeah. You gotta go do that. A lot of people put it on their bucket list, or I mean, I don't know anyone that has it on their bucket list, but
Everyone's too
when
afraid.
you look at the internet, all the stupid people are like, this is a bucket list activity or whatever, but no one I know has it on their bucket list. I just wanna square off with one, you know.
You're not even gonna run from one. You're just gonna.
I might
square
jog
up.
just to bait it,
Okay.
and once it gets near me, I'll stop and try to square off the bull.
Are you gonna put on the traditional garb, the white outfit with the red scarf and the red belt? Or are you gonna come
I
through?
don't really like to wear red. Got red hair. So I was going to maybe get in the, when in Rome.
When in Spain.
When in Spain.
And listen, man, if you're listening to the podcast and you're going to try to come through and find us in Spain, that's not how it works, man. We're already there and gone by the time that you're hearing this.
Yeah, we're not really that good at execution style type stuff where you're supposed to, live, you're supposed to get your things up, you do your projects, you make them, post them, get them available. We do stuff and it's not available for over a year. And then you have people coming up to you and talking to you about something that you forgot completely about.
We're planning a trip across the ocean that leaves in 6 days.
Yeah.
In other words, we're the goats.
No pun intended. The bull.
The running of the goats.
So yeah, it's gonna be some goats running with some bulls. Yeah.
Where does that running of the bulls? Obviously, you haven't done it yet, but where does that rank on your hypothetically think to the future? Where would that rank in the list of crazy things that you've done in your life? Pretty high.
It's a strange, I don't know how to look at it kind of thing.
Well, I know you're like a
as
little bit of a thrill seeker.
Yeah, that's what I think people call it, but not really, because it's more just curiosity.
You're bored.
No. I'm kind of, in a way, content. I just am really curious. So much so, well, I think it's two things. Number one, I refuse to sit and talk about shit I haven't done or at least had some type of experience with without making it known that I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And the second is just curiosity.
You just want to see how it all goes down in real life.
Yeah, I really am not one of those people that just repeat the things that they hear or say or what it might be.
You like to have the first-hand experience.
Yeah, and I just like to do that stuff. Just curious, even if it's a waste of time. I engage in a lot of bullshit that's a complete waste of time just to know what it's like. Even if I'm not, don't plan on doing it with my life. Don't necessarily enjoy it. Not fun. Just out of pure curiosity. I don't know why I'm like that. I've always been like that since I was a kid. I'll go do something that's torturous for like 8 months just to be like, yeah, that thing that you just mentioned offhand that you have no experience with, I actually did that. Even the stupid shit like, shit that might pop up to you on the computer and you're just like, oh, that's a scam. I'll go do it.
You just do it to see if it actually is in case it's not.
Yeah, just curiosity. Because I just have a real hard time with just making assumptions like that.
Right.
About anything. So crazy as I'm not sure.
It's got to be up there though,
crazy.
right?
I don't know. Crazy things to me are I don't know. I guess things like that don't really bother me. Physical things that are, dangerous or whatever it might be, that doesn't really strike. It's not crazy.
Because I know you're what, a certified to scuba solo, skydive solo,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Those types of things are not crazy. Those types of things I just grew up poor and never had a chance to do anything fun. So when I grew up and took control of my life, those two things have nothing to do with each other. Because I decided to take control of my life way after I was an adult, right? I had these things that I was, just curious about.
Right.
Watch a movie when they're underwater, and it's like, oh, I've never been underwater before. Or where they're jumping out of the plane, you're just like, oh, I never did that before. Anyone can go do that if you pay some money, go do it. So those types of things aren't really, even running with the bulls or whatever. I do feel the way Hemingway has a lot to say about it, but it doesn't. That stuff never. To me, that's, I don't know. It's not thrill seeking either. It's not. I'm not like an adrenaline junkie or anything. I just it's in the same category as, it's probably not even as crazy as trying to use Instagram. That to me is crazier than running
using
through the streets
Instagram, modern day running of the bulls.
Yeah.
It's kind of like maybe like the life's not enough stuff, right? Where you've done all these things, but it's just kind of like experiences that have come and gone, right?
Yeah. Life's Not Enough is one of my favorite songs that we've done.
100 on the motorbike, the Eiffel Tower.
200.
200, is that what it is?
That's like what I do on our street. Yeah. 200 is, that Hayabusa does like 210, 215, something like that.
Where did you do the 200 at?
475.
Okay.
475. I've hit it a few times. Bury the needle. Again, just out of curiosity. I don't even think I'm cool. I don't think anything of it. I actually kind of have a problem with it, I guess, where, and touching on the Life's Not Enough idea, the attachment to what it is not really me. For example, I'll pull up at a light next to another biker. You're supposed to pull up next to them. You can ride two in a lane if you want, not behind them, but just stay away, because I'm not really a biker. I'm not really that guy.
Right.
I don't care about what type of bike you have or what you did to your exhaust. Like, I know a little bit about mine, but I don't care. It's not really any of my identity. It's just
a thing you do.
Yeah, same with the gym. Gym bros think I'm a gym bro because I'm in shape. But really, I just like to hurt people. I don't have nothing to do with the gym culture or the bro culture. Same with the yoga people. Been doing it for about 12 years, but I started doing it so I could kick people in their head, which is not what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
But it's peaceful and I like it, but it's just not my identity.
It's like the music stuff too, right? Everyone assumes that because we're doing quote unquote metal music, that's what we listen to. But it's not.
Or should know. Yeah.
A little bit, some stuff.
Yeah, some of it's all right. It's
if you were to come hang out with us, you could hang out with us for a week, and you would hear 99.9% hip hop music.
Yeah, just from a kind of upbringing, I guess. Which you're not supposed to say that, almost, right? It's religious. It's like a religious.
Right.
The idea of that, of what you were just talking about, is a politics. You buy in. And you put the suit on, and the suit comes with, for better or worse, a bunch of things you may or may not agree with, right?
Right.
So when you agree, when you throw up your little metal horns and you become a metalhead, you have to take on a handful of ideas that you might have never actually sat down and thought about. And I don't think people think about it like that. Same when they, call themselves liberal or conservative or whatever. It's kind of like a contract. Like you didn't read the whole thing, right? You couldn't
right.
have those type of ideas are just big broad strokes. So I do like it. I do have an appreciation for it, but I do disagree with a lot of the kind of clique elitist, the thoughts, the attitude within that school. But I don't have any judgments about it. I don't dislike anyone in it. I just don't agree with the way that they think.
Right.
And it's a stereotype too and a generalization because they all don't think the same. But it is a bit of an indoctrination, and it does come with a bunch of almost religious ideas that you have to belong to it.
Right.
And it becomes so cumbersome that I'm just okay with saying, that's fine. I'm not you. I'm not part of your scene. Your scene's cool.
People seem to think is crazy, right? Because it's not like you're just a person listening to the music. You're a person that's making the music and performing the music. And
yeah, and I think a lot of people don't like us for that, I guess.
Because we don't have any guitar solos or breakdowns or...
Yeah, a lot of things. Like, I don't know if this was... when you just said that, it made me think of this, and I don't know if this was really aimed at us in our direction. I'm not really sure. I don't really have any way of knowing, so I don't like to make the assumption, but we were playing at a festival, and over in the UK, and the band that played after us said something like, we're real metal or something. We don't play on the computers and with things like that, right after we had played. And I was kind of thinking, and the dude in the group was standing there when we were playing, you know?
Right.
And I was thinking, he's probably talking about us because we do. But I just thought it was so strange that he thought we gave a fuck about the idea that he was metal.
Was it some old dude? Or was
yeah, I was gonna say who, but then I was kind of like, why give him any attention?
Right.
But the idea is, if it doesn't look like that, it's probably not that. You know, like, we do have the computer.
But you're not pretending that we don't.
And the programs and the things, and we run them. I mean, our songs have 150 recorded tracks
right.
in them, sounds and samples and different instruments. The song we were just talking about, Life's Not Enough, has 3 saxophones on it. So maybe come to peace with the idea that we're not that band that you think we are.
Right. Well, I think people just hear the Kill 'Em All, the Alpha and Omega.
Yeah, that's completely fine. I don't have any problem with that, but Kill 'Em All has a fucking bagpipe in it. We were recording in Greenpoint a few things with a friend of ours, Justin Pilbro. He's from New Zealand. And we were in the studio in Brooklyn, and we had heard a kind of bagpipe, kind of wild instrument out on the pier. Kind of hipster area, you know, now.
It's Brooklyn.
And so we went out there and asked the dude if he wanted to come in and record that shit, you know, and it's in there. There's also like Jiddy Krishnamurti speech, some Arabic instruments and things, you know, and Kill 'Em All. And some people are like, well, you can't even hear them, but I said, no, you can't, but I can, and they're in there. And the point is, just think about it a little bit different of a way. I don't care that that's what you think about us, but I think you're making some wrong assumptions. You know, you can not like it, and you can even not agree with it, but I always say we put our shit right out on stage. We have a 5th member of the band that plays it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Friend is there, programming and things like that. The rest of you guys are just hiding him behind a curtain,
right.
acting like you're doing all that. So which one would you rather hear? The hidden guitar player behind the curtain, or the hidden tracks that are running behind the band acting like they're playing, or the band that's actually playing, and then they have another guy who runs that type of all that extra programming, and we obviously use keyboards and samples and all these other things. But the point is, when you go to make a song and you have anywhere from 150, 160, some of them have 175 stems. That's just what kind of band. It's almost an industrial band, I guess.
More
That's what I'm
like
getting at.
Like 9 Inch Nails or something.
Something, maybe, It's not like 9 Inch Nails, but yeah, I just, it's not 5 or 6 stems, guitar, bass, and drums. Not
Right.
even in the beginning. Like Midwest Monsters doesn't even have that. It's a way shittier recording. It's
Right.
done way shittier. Sounds way worse. But there's been a synth since the first King song. Anachronism has synths on it, every song. It's just what I like.
Right.
Every single.
Well, and I mean, it's weird that a lot of metalheads are under the impression that a metal song or a metal band is 2 guitars, a bass, a drum, whatever. But then one of the biggest metal bands in the world is Slipknot, and they have 2 guys on the stage doing the programming and the DJing and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they think about things like that.
Well,
I don't
obviously,
think there's
right. Why would they? They think about it the other way.
Right, it's a bit inconsistent with the narrative or whatever. But back to the main point, with Life's Not Enough, it's kind of that Buddhist idea of not... it's a couple things. The first thing, not having the attachment to what you may have done. The first point is I don't think people do enough fun things.
They just go to work to get money. We talked about this a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit in the past, but it's kind of a setup for the next idea, which is those things that you do are not necessarily you. Even the little fun parts that you... If your job's not you, how is your vacation you? That's basically the simplest way I can put it.
Okay.
And that is an original. I did just come up with that right there.
Quote unquote.
But yeah, I don't know why people pick and choose their defining characteristics as far as that goes. And Life's Not Enough is those ideas, as far as those things don't mean anything or make me who I am. But at the same time, a lot of it is about the desensitization of the internet generation.
Okay.
To where I see stupid kids all the time. When you're talking to them, they'll pull open the Google and pull up what it is you're talking about, as if they can read a few paragraphs and engage in a conversation with you. And you have to kind of stop them and let them know, I actually know this stuff.
Right.
You can't pull up a few paragraphs. Because what are you going to do? Just start repeating the paragraphs as if what?
It's your thought.
Even if it's not your thought. How do you even know you agree? Oh, you pulled a few paragraphs out, and that's not knowledge. I read another... I'm just going to keep on telling. I think I read another quote that I thought was pretty cool, and it just popped into my head. I think it's by a journalist who I don't know his name, but he said, knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit.
Oh, yeah, and then what wisdom?
Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad.
Yeah.
I like that. But the point is, it's just that desensitization, or the idea of the debunking, or the cancel culture, or the that kind of thing where you think you can type in Mount Rushmore and look at some photos and think that that's cool and then keep it pushing.
Right.
It's just like, nah, man, you got to stand in front of it. There are things, experience and wisdom and these types of things. Google don't have any of that. That's not how it works.
or movies or TV shows or anything like that.
Right. It's that kind of idea where you get this feeling that people think because they've watched it over and over again that they really believe that they're capable of it sometimes, even
Right.
when you maybe you have a disagreement with someone and they have all these notions of what they're capable of, and you're kind of just so confused as to why they would believe that they could ever do that. But life's not enough is that idea of not having the attachment to those types of events or ideas or thoughts, and just, again, I said it on the very first thing that we ever did, 10, 11, 12 years ago. This body's
Not mine.
not mine. It's just something I'm using. So the life's not enough sounds depressing. Like, I did all this shit and it wasn't enough. But that's the point. It's not that. That's not what it's about. So that kind of has to do with everything that we have talked about, whether it's identifying with gym culture or motorcycle culture or whatever culture, even like you said, parachuting and divers. It's in fighting.
Right.
People ask me that shit every day, and it really sucks to have to kind of back explain. I feel like almost Pulp Fiction status,
Out
where
of order.
I was 100 years old and I made an Instagram. Well, then I make a post about a fight that I have. Now everyone assumes I started fighting.
Right.
But it's like I started training when I was a teenager. I'm 30.
Right.
So just because you didn't see it on the gram doesn't mean that it wasn't always happening or whatever it may be. And it's strange, and I feel like, I think we have mentioned this before, I feel like that is a real problem with King. We were so mysterious and quiet for so long that when we start talking, people are like, what happened to you? And then you kind of got to tell them, well, nothing. You filled in all the blanks when we weren't talking, right? And made up who you thought we were.
Right. Their mental image of who you are.
And that personality that you thought we were was very, very wrong. So immediately when I start talking, it's contradictory to, it's a little bit inconsistent with your belief. And there's nothing wrong with it, but it's strange. It's, me and Gene always make the joke that we are brand inconsistent. As in, me and Gene's life is inconsistent with our brand.
What people think it should be.
Or
what it actually is.
Right? It's really strange. Even like, when I started putting out rap shit, and people are like, oh, you're Yavid now? It's like, no, my friends have called me Yavid since I was a fucking kid. No, I was Yavid then. I'm always Yavid. So I guess you don't really read into those types of ideas anyway, because they don't really matter.
Right? You have to just keep doing what you're doing.
Right. But Life's Not Enough is really slick. It's Sammy plays sax on it from Chance's band. Reba from Code Orange sings on it. There's a trained opera singer, a young girl.
Is there a reason that you didn't do like a featuring Reba from Code Orange on like the track listing?
I just thought Reba was so cool that it'd be corny. You know what I mean?
Right.
No real reason. Just the featuring thing to me is always so corny.
Well, I mean, the only reason that someone does it is to get
attention, right?
Right.
I just didn't want it to be like that. I was just trying to make the best song, and there's some real, good sounded shit. I like that song a lot. That song's one of my favorite songs we've done. But it was a big accomplishment for me, especially not even having, like I said, never leaving the city until I was way older. Didn't have a car or a driver's license till I was late 28 maybe. Never did anything. So when I grew up, I was just kind of thinking, I don't care if y'all are into this shit, but I'm gonna be doing this.
Right.
I'm gonna do some of this fun shit I'm curious about. Some of it's not fun.
You mean in the song or just the things that you've done?
All of it, yeah, all of it. Even like fighting. I don't have the bug where I want to, I really like fighting. And I really enjoy fighting, especially in the street, especially when there's many different people. But in the ring, it's nothing like that. It's kind of like playing football in school. It doesn't feel anything like being in the street and fighting.
Too many rules, too many things like that?
Too many rules, yeah, it's in a stage. It's a stage competition.
Right. The lights, the crowd.
Yeah, you're fighting a guy that looks just like you. You know what I mean? He's the same weight. He's the same build, and he knows the same rules, and you guys are trained the same way, and it's not saying anything against it, but I don't get the same
thrill.
Yeah, the same
Is
thrill
it because
as being out, and then you also being out here doing it, you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen.
Right. When you're fighting someone in the street,
pull out someone. Yeah, it might be a whole new scenario of
their
excitement.
friends could roll up.
Yeah, it could be a gun, could be a knife, could be or whatever. When you're competing, it's the perfect word for it is competing. It's just in the cage fighting. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fun. Tried it a few times and it's cool, but didn't really get the bug to want to compete 4 times a year and just do that with my life.
Right, it consumes your whole life. You can't just you can't just go do a or MMA fight, right? Because you train for 6 months,
3 months
3
about
months.
it. Yeah, it's I like to take shit seriously, and music is the shit that I take seriously. So everything else is kind of people ask me all the time, like, when's your next fight? It's like, how many hours do you think are in a day?
Right.
I just put out a record. I just put out another record. I just put out a book, and just got home from a tour.
And we're
When
podcasting.
was I training? Between the podcast, I'm doing a train. What do you? I appreciate it and everything, but I'm thinking I can't go into the ring and get my ass whooped by someone because I was out hanging out, being on a rock and roll tour.
Right.
To someone that's been training. It just don't seem right to me, you know what I mean? It seems a little disrespectful, but I also couldn't live with myself if I walked into the ring with no training.
Didn't give it your all.
Didn't give the work up, and fought someone that did this for a living. You know, this was all that he did. I just wouldn't. I would feel like. I don't feel like I would lose. That's not what I'm saying. I don't feel like I'd be giving it my all.
Right.
I wouldn't feel good about walking into the ring.
Win or lose.
Yeah, doesn't matter what the outcome would be. It's that scene from 300 when he meets the other army and they talk about how he's a chef and he's a meal or something.
Baker and a pot builder. Or
That's
whatever.
how I feel about. When I talk to people that are just part-time.
Right.
And I'm not that type of person to where I'm going to be shitting on everyone's stuff because I'm all over the place.
So when you did those, because you did 2, right? 2 MMA fights.
I did 2 recently. I did 2 back in the day as well.
You were full in on it. You didn't do any music stuff. Were you still like writing and stuff like that?
Yeah, I would still write, but I would basically, I was writing. I always write, and I always go to the gym to work out. So I always write and I always work out regardless of where I am or what I'm doing.
Right.
But basically what I mean was give it my attention was I knew that we would be home for 6 or 8 months. and I'm not a slouch. I'm confident in my skills, you know, but by giving it my full attention, I mean 2 a days. So I would have to have enough time in my schedule for 12 weeks or what it might be to wake up, work out for a couple hours, train for a couple hours, you know, like maybe sambo or wrestling or whatever it might be. Go, you know, to do an hour or so of yoga, whatever it might be, just stretch out, maybe go to rugby practice, and then go train again. Those were usually what my days were looking like, which are about 8 hours of training. And then at night it would be like a couple hours of striking, like Muay Thai and stuff like that. So I basically am going to need to get in the gym to work out. I'm going to need to get in class twice a day. And I'm also going to need to be taking care of myself. So a good good couple hour block of yoga, a good couple hour block of weightlifting, and then I'm going to need 2 couple hour blocks of training, couple different training sessions.
And that's all
morning
day.
and night. So that's your whole day.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't even not enjoy it. I actually like that because there's no creative challenges. When you know you have to be somewhere, I know I have to go to the gym and lift. There's no problems that present themselves as far as something doesn't jump out at you when you're there lifting. It's just weights and you're in a room and you're pushing them around. Same in class. You know, you're trying to get better and you're just focused on your techniques and your training and things like that.
Your mind doesn't really wander.
No one runs in the room and starts doing something that you have to address. You know, you can't be somewhere else, which I think is why they're so attractive, like martial arts and things. When you go on the mat, you can't get out of there.
Right.
You're there, and even if you try to daydream, it doesn't really work for more than 1 or 2 seconds before you get punched in the face or choked or
And then
something
you're right
like
back
that.
in there.
Yeah, you can't escape. So it's kind of like it has you trapped. So my point is I like that kind of autopilot, and I knew I had 6 or 8 months, and I knew I could. I was tired from music as far as touring. I don't believe in touring. I don't really like it. So I was thinking, you know, I'm going to keep writing, keep creating, keep doing this, but I'm going to get this out of my head and focus on doing something that I actually using my body and get something out of, I guess, something enjoyable.
So
training.
When you fight someone in the ring versus when you fight someone on the street, is there a conscious decision that's being made as far as the style that you're using to fight someone?
It's not conscious now.
Okay.
You have
because I would assume you have to use more technique to fight in the ring than fighting your everyday jack on the street.
Yeah.
But
there is a consciousness in that you do assess your opponent. So the last opponent I had, he was a state cop, and he's a bit bigger than me. He was a tough ass dude. I knew he was trained, and I knew he had skills. So I didn't leave any room for mistakes. Street dudes, they have to get a very large margin of luck for them to actually be able to hurt you.
Right.
If you're a trained fighter and you're going against someone that's at comparable size, I'm saying, and has no skill, it's almost like I always use the Matrix analogy. You're fighting someone that's moving in slow motion.
Right.
And I really mean it literally. In that their feet and hands move so slow, and you can see things coming from so far away.
Because they subconsciously telegraph their movement, right?
Yeah, because they're just not trained.
Right.
And it's not a skill that you just have or don't. A lot of people in the street think it is, like, oh, I'm a scrapper. It's like, no, you aren't. You've been in a bunch of scraps, but I rode a bicycle a lot. I'm not Lance Armstrong. You're not thinking about it. You're not diagnosing anything. You're not deliberately rehearsing. You're not breaking techniques down. You're not repeatedly doing it. I always say, showing up to get punched in the face a few hours every day, you're light years ahead of that person who thinks they're a scrapper.
Right.
It's possible that you can get caught, but it's such a little possibility. And that's the difference. When you're in the cage,
it's high
you're
possibility.
You don't let any cracks. You don't
Right.
take. You respect them a bit more. You respect the hands a bit more and the feet. You know what they're capable of. If they're capable of anything like you are, it can hurt you. So it's a lot more feeling it out kind of thing and getting a good feel for it.
Have you ever been on the street and ran into someone that within the time frame of the fight or the whatever, you realized that this person kind of had some sort of training or some sort of knowledge, whether it was like just wrestling or something basic or
and you just kind of up the
right.
You say, well, okay, he's capable, I'm just gonna hurt him even more because he knows better kind of thing. I really don't start a lot of fights with people, so most times I've in some shit, it's someone else really wants to.
Is that because is that now you're saying you don't, or is that throughout your history?
I've never really been a starter.
Okay.
I've never really.
But you're always
I'm
ready.
always welcome.
Right.
I always welcome it. I'm not shy about it. I'll fight anyone anywhere for any reason. It's not something I'm ashamed of or look down on at all. Especially when most of the time it's waiting for someone's kind of. If I'm sitting somewhere, say I'm at a bar or whatever, what might be, which I never am, and someone I can tell just has a problem. I'm sober. I don't do any drugs. I don't drink. I don't do anything. So I can usually have a good grasp on the room or a good character judgment and things. And if I know a guy has a problem and just is there for that reason, I mean, why not just meet him there? I don't like to talk. I don't like to get loud. I don't do no push match or no tough guy shit.
It seems like a lot of people do that. It's just like a social showing off, right? Like that they would be willing to fight, but no one ever does. People always, talk back and forth a little bit or...
Yeah, that's what it always is. I'm not really that big of a person like that. I don't really like that type of thing. So when they start doing that, I kind of just say, whatever you want to do, we can kind of figure it out.
Right.
If that's what you're after. So it doesn't mean anything, but it's just what it is, I guess. I don't know if it's from training or being disciplined or whatever it might be, or if it's just because I'm not really confrontational, but that's a misunderstanding about me. I'm not a crazy maniac that's running around trying to start some shit.
Right.
I mean, growing up, I'll pretty much do anything because I had no brain. But as I got older, it was mostly defending friends who admittedly were always wrong.
But they're still your friends.
Right. Still my friends, so being friends with me is worth something, I guess. But I don't like bully scenarios where I don't like that. I obviously don't agree with.
You saying like someone starts something with one of your friends because they think that they can take them, or because they're bigger than them, or
yeah, it's been a bunch of those, and even just in general. I usually stay out of people's business, but just I don't know. That stuff is kind of annoying. Plus, I can't let anyone be running around like, I knocked that dude out. He was so and so. It's like, nobody.
Right, it's the other way around now. There's video evidence out there. If you YouTube hard enough,
really,
you'll find some videos of a young Yavid Gunn.
Really? Okay. Well, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that it's out there, but a lot of it is, I don't know. I just don't like that stuff. I was never like that as a kid. A lot of people say that I was because I would whoop their ass. When you whoop someone's ass, you're always the bully.
Right.
But up until the point I wasn't. A lot of times you whoop someone's ass and it's so and so jumped me. they had a bunch of people. They all jumped me. And it's like, nah, man, I just whooped you and your buddy's ass.
Right.
By
But now
myself.
because you won, you're the bad guy, right?
That's usually what it is. And then everyone's, thinks you're the bully because you won. But I try to stay out of shit lately, Past couple of years, it's not really worth it anyway.
Right.
I don't really have anything to prove to anyone.
How did you end up settling on the fighting style that you used in your MMA fights? Because do you do Muay Thai?
Yeah.
Or is it kind of more of like a free flow Muay Thai?
It's more Muay Thai. I like let way. You can use your head and stuff, but I don't really you can't do that in the cage.
Like headbutts and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I like a lot of the Israeli stuff. Krav Maga, I think the Israeli stuff is practical in real life scenarios, dynamic scenarios, not really necessarily in the cage all the time. A little wrestling, a little sambo. I just like sambo. It's just something that I like, and my teacher does.
Right.
So sambo and jiu-jitsu is just one. Muay Thai and jiu-jitsu are the two effective kind of cream rose to the top styles. If you look at the best in the world,
right.
those are the ones that are working against people, because a lot of people think that shit works. With whatever it might be, until you have an opponent and you realize it doesn't work. A lot of the martial arts are easily demonstratable when there's no one to demonstrate them.
Right.
A lot of their classes, they stand there doing shit in the mirror. It's like, why would you ever think that's going to work on a person? And you get the training people, the training addicts that always tell you what would happen if. And those people are just as bad as everyone else in the world who watch movies and think that they're capable of doing shit too. It's just like these people are even worse because they do a few training things in the gym and they are just able to. Yeah. I had a friend that I trained with that did Wing Chun, and he would always kind of flip his, if you look up what Wing Chun is or whatever, he would roll his hands in and kind of place his fist at your chin, to let you know that he could have.
He could have, but he doesn't actually.
Yeah, and I was just like, why don't you try that? Because it doesn't hurt, it doesn't do anything.
Right. It's like movie stuff.
Yeah, aside from the idea that he was about 5'3" and weighed about 140 pounds, so damn near half my weight. It was I was just kind of pissed off, like, will you stop doing that? Because that hit's not gonna. You can do it, but don't act like you're holding it back. Just to actually hit me, so I can let you know that you shouldn't do that, because it's not effective. It's not gonna hurt me.
It's interesting to me. Maybe this is just me being ignorant to professional fighting, but that all these different cultures or countries or areas of the world have kind of developed their own fighting style, right? Like the ultimate goal is to prevent someone from hurting you, right? It's the same goal, but all these different cultures have come up with different ways to do it, right? And I just wonder how that, over the course of human history, how that happens, how that develops, how the culture around where someone's from makes them want to fight in this specific way.
Yeah, it's really crazy. It's a really crazy idea, especially because I could be a jackass. I've read a lot about martial arts, history of it, things like this. I could be a real jackass on this, but it seems like we fought with weapons first. If you look at the ancient times and you look at the older, even old dynasty, Asian dynasties and things like that, it kind of seems like there was always or Egyptian or even Sumerian, could you go back all the way, even further, it's like stick and spear, right?
Right.
Shield, it's spear,
A
it's
rock
sword,
even.
it's all these things. You never, even when you go back to gladiator style, it's
Sword
like
and shield.
they weren't just
Spears.
fist fighting.
Right.
So you have to think, kind of, not really making any point here. I don't really have a point, but when you were talking, I was kind of thinking that shit wasn't first.
Right.
Which seems obvious because monkeys clearly were not. Once they learned how to use the weapons and things like that and go into that, you're kind of at a disadvantage, right? But the cool part about us is we're so stable, I guess, and that we practice martial arts.
Right.
When in all reality, in wartime,
You would never. Well, not never.
you
but shouldn't ever.
find yourself using it too often to kill.
It's
You know,
like
if you're at war, you're not gonna do too many beat to death submission kills.
Right.
It's gonna be arms, and back then it was even guns and cannons and the swords, the arrows, the spears, the shields. It's a strange thing that we are now so into this
martial arts.
Not that it wasn't big in the past, because it was, but it's strange that our people, we didn't keep evolving in a certain direction. We kind of keep coming up.
Do you think it could be because we don't really have to physically fight to survive anymore?
Yeah.
You're doing it for fun, for sport.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's some good reason. That's the reason why you see all the middle-aged white women running the
self-defense.
obstacle courses.
Oh, obstacle course. The
the
warrior
Spartan
dash, the
races
Spartan,
and
yeah.
and all those that are so big now, right? And they have such a large market for you to get together in a controlled environment and act primal. And then after you act primal and do your controlled warrior environment that you paid $3,000 for, you can go drink some beer, and then you can go post about it on your social media, where you are often found virtue signaling other types of things, which are completely counterculture to what you just paid to participate in.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, even just the name of it, the Spartan race.
Yeah.
They're comparing you to
talking about.
to the Spartans.
Right. You're the Spartan of the cubicle. You're the feminist.
They put the sticker on their car
Spartan of the cubicle,
that they drive
right?
to work.
There's so many contradictions in that idea, and it doesn't matter, but you just gotta wonder, are you thinking about this at all? It doesn't of course shouldn't stop you from having a good time, but it should stop you from being less thoughtful, I guess.
Yeah, because it's not everyone that's doing it is doing it like that, right? There's probably some all right people doing the Spartan race.
Well, yeah, they have to be fun, right? That's not to say they aren't fun and things, but it's just it's funny to imagine to what degree you think of it. I guess you might think about it.
Do you think you would ever do one of those, or is it just like?
Yeah, just to do it.
Yeah.
Might as well, kind of thing, or see what it's about.
Right.
Curiosity.
Same thing as the running of the bulls, I guess.
Yeah.
Running the
It's
bulls
not
seems
high
a little
on my
more
list. It's
interesting.
not high on my list. The obstacle course stuff. I've done a bunch of them, but I've never done an official one where you go and enter and do.
Okay. Get your
The
T-shirt.
big ones like Tough Mudder and stuff
Right.
like that. I never got a little T-shirt and a little number or nothing.
A little participation medal.
Yeah, it is on my list of things to do. Not those, but like a triathlon. I want to do a triathlon probably one day. Just I don't know. Probably do it, and it won't even be an event. People just make such big events out of everything that they do. I'm really bad at that. Like I probably won't have an Instagram post about the triathlon.
I would say, do you think that's because you're not on social media? Like you don't have a reason to post about it? Well, you are on social media, but you're not really invested in it.
Yeah. I just, I don't know. I don't know. It's not intuitive. It's not intuitive to me. It's hard to care, I guess. Most of the times, I mean, you already know we go do X, Y, and Z and never even take one flick.
Right.
And then afterward, you kind of think, ah, damn, I wish we
could
just got
have,
a photo of that or something.
But at the same time, it's like I'd rather just do it.
Yeah.
With my friend.
Yeah, it's hard to. It comes back to that brand inconsistency, right? Because when you don't show more than you do. Most people, I feel like it's the inverse. I feel like most people show more than they don't. So there's not too many inconsistencies there. They broadcast pretty much everything.
Right.
But when you broadcast nothing,
people fill in the blanks.
Yeah, they fill in the blanks, but they also kind of just have to know you for what you do post.
Right.
Like there are things that I post, like gym workouts. Those are just because I can, and I'm doing it every day, and it's easy.
Right.
But then people think you're a gym guy, and it's like, it's my fault, I guess. Yeah.
Because that's the message that you're sending out.
Yeah.
Even though it's only a fraction of the whole message, right?
Yeah, it's the only one, right? It's kind of what we talked about last time. It gives me a couple ideas. We talk about this all the time, the Yelp reviewer, the loudest minority being what it's known for. There's a Nassim Taleb book called Skin in the Game. And it's the interesting idea of the rule of the minority. And I always thought it was illogical. Not him, but I always believed that things were the way they are because the majority wanted them to be like that. Until I realized that the loud minority, and I don't mean minority as far as what it's used for today as like a ethnicity, race, kind of thing.
Just the belief.
I just mean the smaller group does in a way kind of rule over in a few ways the larger group when it is not an inconvenience. And he writes about it, calls it the rule of minority in Skin in the Game, and he has a few examples. One would be Coke.
Okay.
Coke is kosher.
Okay.
And who really eats kosher? Most people don't.
Right.
But it's no skin off their back to make it kosher.
Right.
Manual transmission cars used to be
everywhere.
a dime a dozen. People kind of like, I don't like manual. Minority people. Everyone was fine with manual, but the sister or the brother or the cousin that didn't like it, it's just like, well, we can make these all automatic, and no smoking, non-smoking. Everyone smoked in the 50s, 60s. They were smoking on airplanes.
Right. In the doctor's office.
In the doctor's office, and small group of people start crying about it, and it's no smoking everywhere. I don't really have a position as far as, is that good or bad? It doesn't really matter, right? But the point is, the kosher Coke doesn't mean that that's the demand.
Right.
It's just, it kind of aligns with...
They can do it. So.
And it's easy enough, and it aligns with what everyone's doing. And
it's like that saying, squeaky wheel gets the grease or whatever.
Gets the most grease, yeah. That's basically what it is. And you get that analogy with what we say. We were talking about, I think, last time when we were doing the record and we were shipping out all these records, and we would get these messages, because you see the store emails where people are messaging. My order's running late. I know a lot of people weren't getting theirs. What's going on? And you kind of have to reply like, we're getting thousands of orders. You read 3 people that said that theirs was late. How is that a lot?
Right.
And it's just more like the loudest, you know, we always say the Yelp reviewer. Number one, there's only a certain type of person that leaves online reviews.
Very happy or very displeased. It's the extremes. And it's more so to be extremely displeased than extremely happy.
You only leave a review when it's horrible.
Right.
Everywhere you go, you do not leave a great review. You usually don't even think about it.
Your service is perfectly fine, but it's just fine, right? Like there's no...
Yeah. So first off, you have to be a person that's even... I've never left an online review. So for example, rather I have a good time or a horrible time, they're not getting a review.
Right.
And that's most cases, right? So because when you go to a restaurant, you 60 people in the restaurant, and you look at their Yelp, Open Table, whatever you might want to look at, Google review, whatever, there's 30 ratings. So it's half the people that are in there right now on this one day.
Right.
It's been open for 20 years. Those are the only ratings that are heard. Is the bitch and moaning of one custo over there was making a kind of scene, and it's a freaky thing to think that loud, what he calls the uncompromising minority, you know, it's a small group, but they're not willing to compromise. They're
Right.
gonna be as loud as they can kind of shift the way that things go.
Yeah, it's like those people that go into like a store, right, a clothing store, and they have bad service, and they say, do what I want or I'll never shop here again. Or
Right.
it's the same for a restaurant, or I'll never eat here, or you won't get my business. And it's like you're one person out of thousands and thousands.
Yeah, we do a really bad job at that, right? Because no one's really writing our checks. So we have very bad customer service here at King. I don't know.
King Inc.
Yeah, here at King Incorporated, we have very terrible customer service because I don't care if you buy something.
Right.
I don't care at all if no one buys it. I mean, it's obvious. We were doing it when no one bought it. We didn't keep doing it because people bought it.
Kept buying it.
Yeah. I mean, if everyone goes and doesn't buy it, we'll still keep doing it. We
Right.
were here long before people started purchasing.
I mean, can't you technically listen to every piece of music that you've ever recorded for free?
For free.
If on YouTube or
Right.
illegally downloading it?
You don't have to do anything. You don't. So that's one of the reasons why we have terrible customer service is because fuck off. We don't have. The reason why is because we don't have professional people handling this type of
Right.
thing, which maybe we should, but it's just a real thing. We run all of our own stuff, print all of our own stuff, and do all of our own stuff, and it's just like if something messes up, you'll get a replacement or a refund or whatever. But beyond playing your stupid ass games, I don't give a fuck if you're here or not. If you don't like this shit, kick rocks. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know if that's the best attitude, but it's music. It's not a product that we're asking for customer review on.
Right.
Good reviews and things. I was doing it anyway. I'm not doing it for you. It's not for you. If you don't like it, it's not for you. If you do like it, it's for you. So when you find yourself bitching, fuck you. I'm out.